Arena starts off right, with punching in the face. What also is right is this movie was made before all that fake, blobby 200 Shades of Grey CGI crap was mainstream. Instead, we're treated to fake, lifeless, physically improbable animatronics and guys in foam rubber suits.
The handicappers decrease a fighter's strength, keeping the match competitive, with the fighters evenly classed.
How's it going, Spinner?
Next round is yours, huh? Well, bold words from a guy who just got fucked like Desiree Washington at a beauty pageant. To further ensure fights are competitive, we endorse drug use. Some sharp-eyed viewers may have noticed that some of the extras in the audience are cardboard stand-ups, but you're wrong. They're an alien race evolved from cardboard itself using humanoid camouflage, and that's all I want to hear on the subject. So from this fight we learned that it's not a good idea to have your telencephalon showing, and that drugs are for winners. Now let's swap story arcs to the hero of the story, and his asshole sidekick.
These days are Black, gray sky, hello blue. There's nothing can hold me when I hold you. Feels so right, it can't be wrong. Rockin' and rollin' all week long.
Say hello to Shorty and Steve Armstrong. So far, the movie has given us a lot of strange concepts to digest. We're on some sort of space station filled with cyborg monster things, fish guys, and robot things, and even a few black people. And Steve has managed to get himself to a space station, sustain a life in this future-themed movie, but he just can't seem to function in the kitchen with any degree of competence. That's so believable! Now the action intensifies. Bang's children are displeased that they have to, wait and stuff for their food, and Shorty's having none of their uppity backtalk and tries to set them straight. However, this act of aggression towards the youngling angers Bang, but before he can stick up for his asshole kid, Steve jumps into the fray and shows us why the white man will always be better than the fish man. Now, in my day, fish knew their place, but those were better times. Ah, the good old days during whitefish segregation. Apparently, in the future, addressing your customers' grievances with swift and blinding violence is still frowned upon. The more things change, the more they still suck. Now, I'll treat you to some of the excellent dialogue in this movie. For the purposes of this exchange, Steve sounds like a bad Elvis impression. I found out one thing, Shorty. And then Shorty pipes in, "What's that? I'm not cut out to be no short-order cook." Who was? This is where the story establishes a few points. 1, Shorty's a nebulite, which I think is a euphemism for asshole. 2, we're on a space station. And 3, Shorty owes Steve a favor for saving his ass. But Steve just wants to get back to his crib and relax. But a space janitor informs him that his crib has been folded because he lost his job and they never got his deposit. Luckily for Steve, Shorty is here to solve a problem that he himself created. He tells Steve, "Hey, don't worry, I got a place you can stay. It's a sewer, you'll love it." You know how in Star Trek everyone speaks the same language because of the universal American who writes the script, but sometimes an alien will say something we can't understand just to remind us he's supposed to be an alien? I think that's what they should have done with this upcoming Bang scene. So now, for your enjoyment, I will recreate this scene in Fish Talk. Alright, need some water for Fish Talk. Let's just forget that happened and get on with things. This is the Tubes. This is where Shorty lives. It's a secret, unknown part of the space station, large enough to house all the people seen here, while simultaneously providing enough heat, oxygen, and water for everyone. And no one notices this. Yeah. Steve starts to adjust to life in the Tubes, and Shorty whips up some delicious breakfast. But then there's a knock at the door. It seems someone has ordered a punch in the face-ogram for Steve.
You Steve Armstrong?
Yeah.
Steve shows us once again that any problem can be solved if you're violent enough. Now we're treated to Quinn's big entrance. She informs Steve that the stupid-looking fish thing he beat up was one of her fighters, so now she has to find some other way to recoup her losses, and reckons making Steve her humble slave for arena fighting will serve her own selfish, manipulative female desires. So Steve gives a compelling speech on how he trained his whole life for arena fighting, and it's all he ever wanted, but then when he got here, he never got a shot, woo-hoo! And now he's being offered a shot, so he gladly accepts it, and no, wait, he doesn't. He refuses the offer and walks away. Fuck. This is why Shorty is an asshole. His big plan is to use the last of Steve's cash to gamble away in an illegal gambling den. But don't worry, Shorty has a backup plan if this doesn't work. He and Steve will move to the underbelly of the station and take up new careers as alcoholic, drug-addicted space grifters. Once inside, it doesn't take Shorty long to prove why he's a failure and lose all the money. And as an added bonus, the place gets raided.
Don't tase me, bro! Ow! Ow!
Well, Shorty, so far all your decisions tonight have been pretty sound ones. How about topping it off with stealing from the criminal organization who runs this gambling den?
What do you think of that, huh?
Where did you get that?
I'll meet you at the Guzzle Bar in an hour.
Did you hear the perverse joy in his voice?
Hey, I stole something. Isn't that great?
Just when Steve and Shorty think they're in the clear, they get caught by the guy who saw Shorty rip off the gambling den. Say hello to Weasel. Isn't he menacing? So, a guy with 4 fucking arms and another guy who wants to be an arena fighter are completely held in thrall by Weasel. Really? Finally, we meet the big boss, Mr. Rogor. A lot of things stand in the way of taking Rogor seriously. For one, he doesn't kill Steve and Shorty for their transgressions. And for two, if you listen closely, he squeaks when he moves. With that, Squeaky demands his money back. The money that Shorty spent. So Steve has to go hit up Quinn for a loan in exchange for Steve's arena services, blah blah blah. This is almost like those early video games. We have to go to the Marsh Cave to get the stolen crown, to give to Astos, to get the herb, yada yada. But thankfully at the end of our quest we can now get into the arena! Oh, it's been a long time coming, but this is gonna be so totally worth it. Oh, cool! What the fuck? What is that outfit? This is our human champion? No! Who? Oh, for Christ. Oh, what can I even say about this that you can't already think of? Oh, damn it, Steve. You're human and white. Just get out there and show 'em who's boss. Yep, that's how it's done. At long last, we're treated to the presence of Horn. You remember him. He was the animal cyborg thing beating up the robot thing. Since then, his character has undergone some growth. Watch as he regales us with his profundity. I say, what's this? Tension between Horn and Steve? I bet this is going somewhere. Like they're gonna square off against each other in the arena. But no, that's not possible. Steve only won a single fight and the movie is almost over. I mean, they would have to pull a cheap stunt, like having Steve fight a bunch of people really quickly while rolling off wins in his rank.
Right before he's got him in a flying S from again. Hey, this kid's definitely for real. Holy shot, what combination! He's down, he's splattered on the...
Well, I'll be damned. However enjoyable beating up alien things may be, there are still some needs a man must have met by space whores. So Steve struts up to Jade and he's all like, "Hey baby, nice cans. They look like north and south magnets repelling one another. Who's your plastic surgeon, Pablo Picasso? But seriously baby, I need some tang." So Jade is impressed by Steve's charm and gives him her room key.
Meet me at my place.
How hard is it to have sex with space whores? Answer: not very. All you have to do is help them put on a necklace, and they're all yours. Jade tells Steve that this stuff will make you into a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. Steve, not being one to refuse being a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus, foolishly accepts and learns that a woman's kindnesses and attentions always come at a price. Meanwhile, back at the arena, things are heating up as Horn awaits his challenger. And I'll say one thing for Horn, at least he doesn't chant his own name like a character in a shitty Japanese anime. Well, poop. If Steve doesn't show up soon, the movie... Oh, there he is.
Trimetazine 25. He's loaded with it.
Whoa, bad news for people who take trimetazine for angina, huh? Luckily for Steve, an oversized needle for dramatic effect is handy. This is the kind of poison so big that only a big needle can draw the parallel of how catastrophic this situation is. Luckily, it takes more than poison to poison Steve.
Armstrong, you die now.
Well, that's not gonna fly. So Rogor summons Weasel and informs him that if there's one thing he despises, it is a fair fight. So he instructs Weasel to sabotage... What? I don't say sabotage. You say sabotage. I say sabotage. As I was saying, he instructs Weasel to sabotage the handicapper. Luckily for Steve, Shorty's asshole senses are tingling. I love it when things are unintentionally hilarious. Shorty scurries off to stop Weasel and a brief altercation ensues. Then for no explained reason, the computer blows up. So, what have we learned? That if you're poisoned, beaten, and suffering from the effects of being handicapped, you can rise above your adversity if you believe in yourself. And if you're a movie character. 'Cause in reality, you'd pretty much be screwed. Another lesson is if you're human in a movie directed by, starring, and for humans, it's a safe bet that the alien covered in horns, slime, and steel is going to lose.